45 years ago, there was a sports car that looked like a Ferrari and had the payment book of a Mustang. It was called the Datsun 240Z. People liked it. A lot. But it's 45 years later. The world is different. We don't listen to Three Dog Night or smoke Kent 100s or have six-way intercourse with everyone in the neighborhood. Or eat fondue. And this completely jimmied up 370Z Roadster costs nearly 50 grand. What do you get for that? You get uniqueness and a little maturity. The 370Z Roadster is just a little easier on aging bones. If you want the harder-edged, more agile sport model, you'll have to get the coupe. I've always liked the Z's uniqueness, maybe a bit more so when the lines were simpler and less stylized than they are now. A few years ago, Nissan made the whole thing look a bit more aggro. But there's no question you won't lose your Z Roadster in a parking lot, unless it's a parking lot full of Z Roadsters, and then you'll want to bet on the long shot since, not to stereotype, but you'll probably be at the horse track anyway. What about its driving character? That comes from its wide track and short wheelbase, which makes it feel almost square. And it gives it a lot of grip and plenty of cornering sparkle and responsiveness, but the Roadster's more comfort-minded shock setup is a bit underdamped and it ends up feeling a bit squishy, while never losing that sports car harshness over rough roads. So the Nissan Z Roadster is kind of a car in search of a buyer. It's not really a sports car, it's kind of a GT car, but not exactly the kind of car you might want to drive really long distances. It's not bad for carving up a canyon, but not precise enough for maybe a racetrack. So what is it? Well, there are a couple of things that are really good about the Z Roadster. The Z's 3.7-liter V6 is the same Nissan VQ engine, a not quite sweet-sounding workhorse, but one you'd actually want to redline, squeezing out all 332 horsepower and 276 pounds-feet. 0 to 60 is around 5 seconds. Performance level is perfectly adequate. The 7-speed manual with the paddles and downshift rev matching is not horrible, but you'll want the manual. Actually, scratch that. Don't even worry about it. It's a damn Z-car. Get it any way you want it. That's the way you need it. The interior felt a bit more special back when the dash cluster had those deep shrouds like the original 240Z did. But these gauges are easier to read and the interior is tasteful and usable without feeling trashy. But if you're up against the Germans for a car that costs nearly 50 grand, well, this isn't quite up to par. Either way, the 370Z Roadster fits in its own niche, unique in looks and character, not quite soft and forgiving enough for buyers aiming at cruising comfort, and perhaps not quite edgy and accurate enough for sports car buyers. But you don't buy the Z because you want everything to be perfect. You buy it because in a world of high-tech, over-engineered cars with technology up the wazoo, it's weird-looking and unrefined and crashy and a little insane, and it makes you feel good about all that.